And we are familiar with that right from our childhood onwards. From the childhood, we get connected with the objects, with the respective senses, and we enjoy. They are gross. They are more gross. They are aware in a have given some everything will have a name also. So these senses are called in Sanskrit Indriyani. So Indriyas are very much familiar to me. My senses are available. I know my senses, and it's available for me to enjoy the external objects. The journey starts from the external objects which I am familiar. From the known to the unknown, the journey starts. I know the externally. I have sense organs to enjoy the objects. These two things are very familiar. It is known to me. I have enjoyed food. I have enjoyed song. I have enjoyed smell. I have enjoyed cinema. I have enjoyed certain things related to touching. We are all now pampering when we are boy or baby. Mother, the relatives used to pamper us. So sense of touching is known to me. So what is known to me? They are called gross experiences, right visible to me, right in front of me. But from the known towards the unknown Atman, towards the unknown self, these two verses will take slowly. That is what already told in 1, 3, 10. I will read that also, which we have already saw 1 year before. Indriyebhyah parahyartah arthebhyascha param manah manasastu para buddhihi buddher atma mahan parah mahatah param avyaktat purushah parah purushanna param kinchit sa paragatihi. We have gone through these verses 1 year before in the first chapter, third section, 10th verse and 11th verse. Same verse in a slight difference it is told. The formula is very clear. Superiority is graded in accordance to the subtle nature of things. Again, I will repeat. Superiority is graded in accordance with the subtle nature of things. I will give you an example. Mud is the cause and clay is the product. Mud is superior to the clay. Why? Mud is all pervasive. Without mud, there is no pot. sorry, mud and clay are one. Again, I will repeat. Clay is the cause and pot is the product. Cause and the effect. Pot is the effect, karyam. And clay is called karanam, cause. Without a cause, there is no existence of effect. Compared to the effect, cause is superior, being subtler and also all pervasive, and also without that, there is no product at all. So, cause effect relationship also, if we grade according to the subtle nature, the superiority will goes to the clay than pot, because clay is all pervasive not only in this pot but also in other pots also. This pot only remains here. It cannot pervade in another pot, but clay will go to another pot. The same clay. This is how superiority is graded in accordance to the subtle nature of things. This is the sentence I told on that time also. Okay. Now we will brush up the things again. When compared to objects, I will read the shloka of 7th and 8th, then only we will start the main. I didn't read the words which we are going to see now. Indriyebhya paramanaha manasaha sattvamuttamam satvat adimahan atma mahataha avyaktamuttamam. Again, indriyebhya paramanaha manasaha sattvamuttamam satvat adimahan atma mahataha avyaktamuttam. We need to see the meaning in connected with the next verse also, because Lord says a complete journey from the known to the unknown through two verses. So I will read the next verse also, so that it will be with to from the known to the unknown Atman self. When I say unknown, you cannot commit a mistake that the self is not known to anybody in this world. Like when I say some fruit's name, it is unknown to us. You know, in some fruits which are not available in other countries, and for those countries, if you say some fruit's name, they will wonder, they are unknown to them. You cannot take in that sense when I say unknown, the word. Atma is accomplished, self-evident to everybody. There is no unknowing for anybody Atman. Only thing is that the known Atma is mistaken other than what it is. Atma is taken as body, mind, sense complex. Atman is taken as some other thing in this world, like mud, like a snake. What are the Shankara's example? Whatever objects we see is wood. So whenever I say unknown to us means mistaken by everybody. Unknown means everybody, I mean human beings, has taken granted. Nobody has told them that you are ever existing self. Nobody helped or nobody supported them by giving this right knowledge about oneself. The whole teaching is correcting the error by the right information. By listening to the right information in one's life, whatever mistakes they have committed about oneself is being eliminated, is being eradicated. Thus, about oneself, when one listens, he accomplishes the Atman. That's all. The word unknown should not be taken as in our English literature. It is not unknown for anybody. It is self-evident from the ant to the creator, Atma. The self is evident, self-evident for me and for you, even before coming to the Upanishads class. I know myself, but I mistaken myself something other than what I am. That's all. So that is what been told by Lord Death. The formula is this: from the known to the unknown, and giving the superior status to the unknown things with respect to the gross things. Thus, the journey will go one by one, from one step to the next step, from that next step to the next step. Thus, the journey will go. Thus, from the gross object to the subtle objects, from the subtle object to the subtler object, from the subtler object towards the subtlest object. What is visible for everybody? From the journey starts towards the invisible, which is unknown Atman. Unknown means which is mistaken by everybody. So, superimposition is the base of teaching. If you know complete meaning of superimposition, what is meant by superimposition? Something is taken other than what it is. Like a rope is mistaken to a snake. Pot is seen by everybody, universal, it is pot. But really, the existence of pot is under doubt because apart from clay, there is no existence of pot marked any in any place in this world. In order to know that we are from the gross object towards the subtlest object, we are traveling. That's all. Lord Death given these beautiful verses twice, and the Lord Krishna given these beautiful verses once in his Bhagavad Gita also. Just from the gross object towards the subtlest self. This is the gist of these two verses. Now we will start the journey. Here, the journey starts like this. Lord Death is giving the instruction for Nachiketas how to accomplish Atman, which is already accomplished in once. oneself in one's life. Siddham Atma. Siddha means accomplished. In India, sages are also called Siddha Purushaha or Siddhaha. What is meant by Siddham in Sanskrit? Accomplished personality. Siddhaha means what he has accomplished. He has accomplished himself that I am not body, I am not mind, I am not senses, I am not any complexes. I am ever pure Atman. After listening to the Guru's words, teacher's words, he has already decided to give up all his erroneous notions immediately and he stay in himself that I am all pervasive Atman. Even though I appear as a human body for others, it is only an appearance. Appearance never made any changes in me. I am the Atman. Appearance are for my wife who didn't study. Appearance are for my children who didn't know what is Vedanta. Appearance are for my superior master where I work. Appearance are for my society. Appearance are for my people who are around me. I know that it is an apparent reality. It is just a superimposition, which is the mistake which I committed right from my birth. So here I am correcting by the by the way what Lord Death has unfolded to Nachiketas. How he started the journey. We already discussed these two verses. Please listen that also. Now I am giving another way of explanation. So you can combine both together to understand to get more clarity. Okay. Lord, that starts like this. Indriyebhyaha. In the previous verse, I mean, first chapter, third session, 10th verse starts Artha. Compared to the senses, objects are more subtler. There the verse starts like that. Here the verse starts like that. Indriyebhyaha, compared to our senses, which are gross for me. Whenever I say gross means you take that it is familiar to me. Something which is familiar because I enjoy an ice cream with my tongue. So senses of taste is available to me. When when I get the fragrance of sandal instant stick, my senses of fragrance is ready, available to me. I see TV, I see cricket match. So my senses of vision is available to me. So whenever I say gross means it's available for me. Pure superimposition on the self. Senses are nothing but Atman, the self. Anything in this world, it is available to you only the superimposition and the base of the superimposition is Atman. Atman is mistaken as senses. Okay. But there is a way to understand Atman. So senses are gross and compared to the senses, with respect to senses, mind is more subtle than senses. That is what here told by Lord Death. Indriyebhyaha param manaha. Param, more subtle. It is superior. Param. Mind is superior to the senses. Superiority is created in accordance with the subtle nature of things. That sentence should be kept in mind. The superiority comes according to the subtle nature of the things. So when we compare the mind and the senses, mind is more subtle. Why? Mind is not available as my senses are available. And also, senses are reporters. Just they go around and collect the data, and these data are being given to the mind. They are all just like the horses. So when they go and they collect the data and informations, and they themselves cannot analyze whether it is wrong or right or needed or not needed or necessary or unnecessary. They just forward all these things to mind. So mind being behind them, the senses can work properly. And it's an extraordinary instrument given by the creator, mind. In the empirical dealing, any empirical dealing, to do properly, senses are not enough. Mind should be there behind the senses. Without that, the empirical dealing will not be fruitful. Any empirical dealing, vyavaharikam, your mind is important. Just because our senses, we have a body and we have senses, that is not enough. It's very, very important. So mind is something which we need to live a proper life in this world. It's a big disease also when your mind is not working properly. You people call it immaturity. Different types of immaturities are there. You may be dealing properly with the world. When you come to the house, you become very angry for small things. You may be stubborn for certain things. You may be helpless with yourself in a situation because the mind is not helping you. That's why I told you it's one of the extraordinary instrument given by the Lord. Of course, whole teaching is meant for mind only. Whole Vedanta, whole teaching, whatever we are. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Nada Bindu Upanishad. And another Upanishad says that. Indeed, mind is the cause for the bondage, and also indeed the mind is the cause for the freedom too. Very beautiful Upanishad, it says that. In order to know the nature of the mind, the Vedanta talks about mind. Mind means, in one definition, if I can say, continuous flow of thoughts are is called mind. Continuous flow of thoughts is called mind. One thought, next thought, this is a cat, this is my wife, this is my children, what I am going to eat in the evening. There will be different pattern. They are not connected sometimes. Thus, continuous flow of thoughts is called mind. First, one should know what is mind. It's apart from Upanishad, I am talking psychology. Once you come to know what is mind, it's very easy how to restrain, how to help yourself, the mind. You can have 30 thoughts, 40 thoughts in 1 minute, no problem. Suppose you are having 90 to 120 thoughts in a minute. This is called lunatic. A person is mad. There is only one thought that's called liberation. And when there is no thought, you are self. Very easy. As a human being, you can have 20 to 30 thoughts maximum in a minute. It's okay. Even if you think one or two thoughts, no problem. If you have more thoughts in one single duration, that's called, we call that person is something, it's a full moon day or black moon day. We cannot control him. More thoughts means more you are restless. Understand? Now, you are thinking only one thing at a time. You are free in this world. I am not talking about the ultimate liberation. You are free. One single thought you are having. Maybe your lover, your wife. You are not a mad at all. You are not a lunatic. When there is no thought after having the teachings and studies, an enlightened personality, he is called self-accomplished man, Siddha Purusha. And most of the thoughts have the subject of external things. We call it is called samsaram. Our mind will be working in different things which we are experienced, which we already experienced, which we want to experience. There are some imagination about my house. There are some dream about my marriage. There are some dream about my children's future. These are all samsara, bringing more and more bondages. Thus the thoughts goes continuous flow of thought. Mind is running one after another, going. But it's very subtle. There is no control over the mind. This is another reality. For a car, you will have a clutch, you will have a brake, you will have gear, you have handbrake, etc., etc. When something is formless, something is not aware, how can you control the mind? And most of the people who study yoga just say, control your mind. How you control your mind? You know that There is no control over the mind. We know that. Why? The mind will think about some fruits now. After that, it will think about some cricket match. It will think about your children. It will think about some birds. Anything. There is no rule for that. What? How to control? What to control? It's just a bluff. When people say control your mind, it's not possible. Only enlightenment is possible. Once you got a complete understanding about oneself, just like when you come to know that it is not a snake at all, it's just a rock. All notions about the snake should vanish immediately. There is snake and also rock too. Then it's called confusion. Then there is only means there is no other way to help or support somebody. Because people argue, I am seeing my body. How can you deny that this is not body? There is, don't try to discuss with all these people. No, they are ordinary people. They will say you have some issues with your thoughts. So Vedanta is not meant for pet talk, or you cannot discuss in a tea shop having some tea or bread. Vedanta is something to listen for yourself. Once it is completely full, it will spill out for somebody who is interested. Up to that, you make it fill yourself. Don't discuss when you are dining. It's not a good idea, and people will get confused about yourself, your personality being evaluated by these type of discussions. Fine. So mind means continuous flow of thoughts, and thoughts are having some external objects. If you take away the external objects, there is only continuous flow of consciousness. Thus, mind is very near to Atman, the self. Each and every objects are being manifested inside the consciousness. The external objects are being manifested inside our consciousness. So each and every thought means an external object plus our consciousness. Another thought, external object plus our consciousness. Another thought means an external object plus our consciousness. So when you take away these external objects, the consciousness remains. Thus, the mind is no more at all. Because when you take away the external objects, the consciousness, which is the self, all pervading self, remains now. So it's very easy from the mind to the consciousness. So this is the simple way of understanding the mind. We will see more about the mind and how to restrain, how to control and everything. I already told you, enlightenment is called freedom. Enlightenment is called controlling of the mind. An enlightened personality is not worried about the external things coming and going in the consciousness, because they are not capable to make him a bondage within oneself. Because he knows that whatever I see, it is nothing but Atman only. Let it come, let it go. If I put some pressure not to come, it will come more and more with more strength. We will talk about mind more and more in coming Upanishads also after this. First, we will go along with the flow of death, what he's told. Indriyabhyaha, gross indriya senses are inferior to the mind. Mind is superior for the senses. Then, manasaha sattvam uttamam. But there is another thing which is superior to mind. What is that? Sattvam. Shankara gives in his Bhashya, Sattva Shabdad Buddhihi Iha Uchyate. By uttering the word Sattvam, here Buddhi is intended. The intellect is intended through the word Sattvam. So mind is always inferior when we compare with the intellect. Why? Mind always go on options. Should I take this? Should I take this? Should I marry this girl? Should I marry this girl? Should I have boy? Should I have girl? Should I take this fruit? Should I take this? Life is full of options. Even a TV, you cannot buy by asking different options or different opinions from a person. Somebody says Panasonic is better, Sony is better, Toshiba is better. Everybody have their own opinion, their own features. So generally, mind means options, confusions. Once you come to know, you take a decision. Decision means intellect. I want to study this, I want to study that, I should become an engineer, or I should become a doctor, or I should become that thing, an accountant. These are all confusions. Once you come to know according to your skill, according to the capacities, I am not a good person in maths, but I love anatomy, but I love to help others. Then you go to a doctor or surgeon, whatever it may be. Then you take a decision, study something related to human anatomy and become a doctor. This is called decision according to one's own nature, one's own understanding. In the life, we take decisions according to the situations and according to my own personalities. This is done by intellect. So confusion is inferior when we compare decisions. Mind is inferior when we compare with intellect. So senses are inferior when we compare with the mind. Mind is inferior when we compare with the intellect. Then superiority is graded according to the subtle nature of things. So more subtle is intellect. Compared to senses, mind is more subtle. Compared to mind, intellect is more superior. But all these are superimpositions on Atman, on the self. Self is the real thing, and the self is being understood in the world as intellect. Self is being understood as in the form of mind. Self is being understood as in the form of senses. And Sattvad Ati Mahan Atma. Sattvad. When we compare the intellect with the manifested form of Brahman, manifested form, Hiranya Garbha. There is a beautiful word in each and every Upanishads. Manifested form means you can take for the time being, really. Whatever devatas, whatever deities you used to pray, He is almighty, He is genius, she is, whether it is lotus, whether it is Lord, which has a name and form, and He is capable of taking care of the entire creation. And he can be told as Brahma also. Mostly Brahmaji comes into picture when we say manifested form. We can take as deities. Hiranyagarbha, Brahma, four-faced Lord in this creation. These are all for one word called Sattvad Adhi Mahan Atma. Mahat. In some words, this manifested form is called Mahat. It is equal to Brahma. It is equal to Hiranyagarbha also in some places. Our own deity, which we do certain upasanas daily, certain meditations. I take support in my day-to-day life by doing some prayers in front of the all-pervasive Lord who is in a form. It can be Lord Krishna, it can be Mary, it can be Jesus, it can be Allah, whatever it may be. Manifested form. When compared to intellect, the manifested form is superior because of the subtle nature. We have already discussed all these things, and still I am giving in a different way of explanation. And there is something other than superior than this. What is that? Mahan Mahataha Avyaktam Uttamam. Avyaktam, unmanifested form. When we compare something with the manifested form, with the unmanifested form is more subtle and it is superior to the manifested form. Sprout and seed. Seed is unmanifested. A seed is manifested and the a seed is unmanifested. I'm right. Seed is unmanifested and sprout is manifested. Sprout will be always inferior when we compare to the seed because we don't know what is inside and it's very subtle. It will have roots, stem, everything inside the seed. Similarly, the entire universe before coming into being, it was in an unmanifested form. This is called Avyaktam. For this Avyaktam also, in some places, it is called Hiranyagarbha. Upanishad use this Hiranyagarbha word in different places. For the time being, Avyaktam. In Sanskrit, Vyaktam means what something is visible to me, what I can see now, what I can perceive now, what is right in front of, available for my senses, manifested condition. Avyaktam, opposite of the Vyaktam. Then it is called invisible. What is not available for perception. The entire world before creation, the entire universe before creation, it is in an unmanifested form in somebody. That unmanifested form is called Avyaktam by Lord Death. Now the journey is in the half of the way. From the gross objects, senses are more subtle. From the senses, mind is more subtle. Everything is Atman only. This Atman, the self is superimposed as object, self is superimposed as senses, self is superimposed as in the form of mind, self is superimposed in the form of intellect, self is superimposed in the form of manifested form of all-pervading Lord, self is superimposed in the form of unmanifested form of all-pervading Lord. So, thus, from the gross, slowly drawing the attention of an individual who is a spiritual seeker step by step, having understood from the known to the unknown, having understood what is gross, which is a superimposition. We will stop here. We will continue the journey in the next class. Half of the way we are right now, we will wind up. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Bhro Brahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanya Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Choparahitaha Brahmana Santu Narpayaha Sarve Bhavantu Suginaha Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyati Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om